The first time it happened, Liam thought he was still dreaming. He lay in the suffocating darkness, his body heavy and immobile, a leaden weight pinning him to the mattress. He tried to move his hand to even twitch a finger, but the command from his brain went unanswered. Panic, cold and sharp, began to prickle at the edges of his consciousness. Then he heard the breathing. It wasn't his own, which was ragged and quick. This was a slow, wet exhalation, a sound like a whisper from a deep well. It was close, too close. He strained his eyes, forcing them to adjust to the inky black. The faintest outline of a figure stood at the foot of his bed. It was tall, impossibly so, its head scraping the low ceiling, a dark, featureless silhouette against the wall. "It's a dream," he told himself, but the thought was a fragile shield against the encroaching terror. Dreams didn't feel this real. He could feel the pressure on his chest, a crushing weight that stole his breath. The figure at the end of the bed moved, a jerky, unnatural motion, and began to glide silently toward him. Every fiber of his being screamed. He tried to scream, to shout, to make any sound at all, but his throat was sealed. A dry, lifeless passage. The thing leaned over him, and he could smell it now. A scent of damp earth and rust, of something long dead and buried. He could feel its presence over him, a suffocating heat. He squeezed his eyes shut, wishing, praying, begging for it to be over. When he finally opened them, the silhouette was gone. The breathing had stopped. His body was his own again. He sat up with a gasp, a cold sweat plastering his clothes to his skin. He spent the rest of the night with the lights on, huddled beneath his covers like a child. It became a nightly ritual, the paralyzing fear, the dark figure, the weight on his chest. He tried everything, sleeping on his side, on his stomach, with a pillow between his knees. Nothing worked. The creature always came. One night, the figure was different. It wasn't a silhouette. It was detailed, terrifyingly so. Its skin was mottled and gray, stretched taut, over a skeletal frame. Its eyes were two empty black pits that stared into his soul. A grotesque smile was carved into its face, a mouth full of jagged, broken teeth. This time, the creature did not just stand over him. It reached out a long, spidery hand. He watched, helpless, as the gnarled fingers caressed his face, the touch cold and dry. He could feel the rasp of its skin, a sound like sandpaper on bone. Then it spoke, not with a voice, but with a whisper that vibrated deep within his skull. "I know you're awake, Liam." The words weren't a threat, but a promise that this was no dream. And he knew with a horrifying certainty that he would never be truly free again. He was trapped, and the thing that haunted him was not an illusion. It was real, and it was just waiting for him to fall asleep.